property. So we comply with every code enforcement, triangle, the street situation, and is honestly, it's no bother nobody. I mean, in my neighborhood, if somebody have here, so it's bother my pergola, so I can protect my assets against the big trees. With each wind, what is blow, it's coming like big hacks from the trees, and it's basically make damages in my cars. And because this situation, I don't want to cut the trees, I don't want to pull the permit for the cut the trees or something like that. But with same time, I would like to protect my assets. If basically this is the reason why I'm here.
Okay, don't go far. I'm going to see if there's anybody from the public that wishes to speak, and then we may bring you back for some questions. So, is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak to this matter? Okay, and sir, I'm going to let you kind of step aside, and we'll have them come up one by one. Please. So, start in the front. If you come up, state your name and your address when you get to the microphone.
Do I have the press here where it says press
No,
here?
you're good. You're live.
Good. Yes, my name is Ted Jagustin. I reside at 3005 Southwest 25th Street, about 1 block away from Steve's property. I am also the vice president of the Riverland Manors Association, a stakeholder in this case. And I'm here to deliver a message from our board, okay? And I won't take any part, a small part of the 5 minutes I'm allowed, about 2.5 minutes.
You're good.
One, we would like the owner, the Riverland Manors Association recommends that the property owner of 3000 Riverland Road take the following actions. One, implement a code-compliant 25-foot site triangle with an unobstructed view from 2.5 to 8 feet height, free from obstruction by movable or stationary objects. This will assure the motorist, cyclist, pedestrians, and school children from the Riverland Manors Middle School, 2 blocks away, can approach the intersection with the safety they are entitled to by law or the higher standard of ethics. 2, dismantle any accessory building structures that are above the 5% maximum lot area allowed by code, and engage the services of a drainage engineering professional and or contracting per hour of stormwater on the property as required by code. After the above 2 actions are taken, if there are any additional accessory buildings require violation of the code that will not adversely affect the community, then come back to the BOA to request another variance with drawing sizes and dimensions indicating the utility purpose for a single-family dwelling in residential district RS 3.52.
Thank you, sir. Before you go, there may be some questions. So does anybody from the board have any questions while he is standing here before we bring him back?
Yeah, just as I was reading this yesterday, I gather this whole case started from code violations. Was that?
There were code violations in the past. They may have been corrected, but our main, the 2 complaints are that the company is in serious code violation at the intersection. And this, it causes motorists that come from either direction, they have to go right into the bicycle path from Riverview Lane to see around what is a totally obstructive view in the site triangle. That's 1. And 2, there are significant violations of water emitting from the property onto the adjacent street and to the adjacent neighbors. Whatever the reason for this, it needs to be abated and addressed by the owner. And the present accessory buildings are right now constructed and in violation of code.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay.
And sir, if you want to come up, you wish to speak?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Scott DeStefano, 2410 Southwest 20. Mature oak trees and worried about leaves falling on his cars. Should have taken that into consideration when he purchased the property. This is, however, a much bigger issue. My understanding is that the only way that code enforcement and the building department can address this issue is if this board asks code enforcement and building department questions. So I would encourage you to ask code enforcement and the building department about what has actually transpired here. This gentleman has developed this property without permits. He had concrete poured up to the second floor tie beam before code enforcement and building department got involved. He was then instructed to get special inspectors to come back and certify that the work that he had done to that point without permits was done correctly. The variance application for the carport is one of numerous code violations that are not even being addressed by this application. There is an addition. There's an addition to the west side of the house that was a patio slab that was enclosed. It also now has AC compressors.
Okay, but actually, to their point, sir, we're not the code board. So
I know, but I'm trying to open the door for you to speak to the officers that are here that do have the relevant facts.
Go ahead.
So the bigger issue is it's a complete disregard for the code. He's disregarded the neighbors. He's disregarded the code. He's disregarded the city. He's just built whatever he's wanted there, and now he's coming back and throwing himself literally at your mercy. I know that there is a propensity with Board of Adjustments to be reluctant to say to a homeowner, tear it down, because they've already invested a lot of money to build it. I would implore you to tell him to tear it down. He knew he was building it illegally, and he continued. The carport that's been added on to the east side of the house, the most recent addition, is not on the permitted set of plans. It is cantilevered out all the way to the property line. As an architect, I can state for fact there is no way in hell it meets the Florida building code for high velocity hurricane zone. And it just keeps going. As I said, in addition to the west side of the house, the carport addition in the front yard setback. There's also the bigger issue of what doors you open if you start to approve these things simply because he chose to build it without requiring or without securing the appropriate approvals in advance. I'll leave it at that. I think I've made my point. There's no hardship here. So.
Okay, and before you go, there's going to probably be some questions. And Doug, microphone though, please.
There's no pictures actually of his house in here. There's pictures of the neighbors. Do you happen to have a picture of it?
But I could call up the Broward County Property Appraiser's website.
So I was looking at it at lunch.
Yeah, I was missing a picture of his property.
I mean, there's no, you're saying this has already been built, but he's coming in here and asking for it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How that was not mentioned in here.
But can you not address that question to code enforcement in the building department here too? Can they confirm that for me so that's not hearsay coming from me? I'm happy to answer it, but that's the only question?
That was the only question.
Okay, that was easy.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is there any other questions for this member of the public? Bob, your microphone on?
Microphone's on. When I was looking at the aerials, obviously there's a lot of foliage and things like that, and I was having trying to figure out what we were talking about, what was being built, what was not being built, what was coded, what was not coded. It isn't really in the presentation. So I had a lot of sort of questions walking in here today.
Right.
Well,
That's why I had the question about, is the genesis of this code violations?
Yeah.
I think they're all calling.
I'm not even sure how to address it.
I mean,
but
I can certainly back up the speaker here. I live in the neighborhood, so I go by this house all the time. And in general, despite that, when I looked at the package online and the survey, which was part of the package, which wasn't actually printed, but a lot of the same information is on the sheet that's in our packet. It says there's a lot of things that just aren't really accurate, so I had a really hard time looking at this package, and really, I don't even know how staff actually honestly approved this package, but that's neither here nor there. But it says a one-story CBS residence. It's actually a two-story home, a giant two-story home. It shows one pergola here on the corner, but as Scott has said, there's actually another pergola here, which extends over the wall of the home, which you can't do. So there's just a lot of things that that are kind of not correct. And this engineer that stamped this And the survey is dated November, and that pergola certainly was built, this one that's not on the plan before then, so then I was questioning the validity of the surveyor. So I had a big problem with this application. I don't know if you guys...
So let me tell you what we're going to do. So we're going to let the owner come up. We're going to let them have any rebuttal. Then we're going to ask any questions of the owner, and then we can go from there. Thank you, sir. Sir, you can come up. Any statements you want to make, and then I'm sure we're going to ask you some questions.
Good evening again. Return back to the nice gentleman over here. What is pointed about some kind of problem on the intersection, setback, or triangle. Guys, you have the couple gentlemen over here who was visit my property. I think not once. And in my corner, it's not kind of obstruction what this gentleman mentioned before. It's number one. I don't see any kind of problem right there. Now, the gentleman here, I don't know the gentleman, maybe my neighbor, so I don't know, okay? So what is also mentioned about the flooding, so my property is the up corner above each property on the neighborhood. So obviously the old water, what is coming, was the rain, or whatever it can be, it's coming from the up, down, is the physical. So what you mentioned before and what you mentioned before, sir, in full respect, I not agree on that. Besides, if it was evaluation of my construction, my house, it was a lot stuff going on during the Corona, where I started this project and Corona hit us. And also it was a lot time where the city not was open at all. And communication was very tough. So to come back to your point, what is built without the permit, you're on, okay? You're on. So all my properties got the permits. All my properties got the permits for all construction, everything what I doing.
Mr. Chair,
Okay.
if you'd address us instead of the public.
So
Yes, thank you.
what I can suggest to everybody here, welcome to my property, and we go over again to who and how it's bother. And even though my neighbors as well, and the nice gentleman can welcome and tell me that where is see kind of problem on triangle in my property, if it's kind of problem with the school, stadium, whatever it can be. Because everything what him say here, I not agree. In full respect.
So we're going to have some questions for you.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Milton, go ahead.
I have a question.
And if you could bring the microphone closer.
With regards to your hedge line, is that your hedge line?
Yeah, it's the corner. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's the corner. So you don't even meet the site triangle, because if I pull up there, I don't see how I could see around.
I
Deputy City
can tell
Attorney
you-
Dwayne Spence, for the record, the photograph, although it's not marked, it's in the package and shows the notice sign in a flatbed truck. Is that what we're referring to?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, can I answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the first of all, the Riverland Road, it's not straight street. When you come into the stop sign from the small street on the side, what you just showing on the picture, so the street, it's pitching left direction to the north, okay? So it's not exactly straight what you can see. So if you come into the stop line, you see left, right, no problem at all. So I don't know which picture, from which corner you did, or somebody did, I don't know. But again, it's not show me any obstruction right there, but this is why I tell to everybody, welcome to my property and let's drive, let's walk, and let's check and let's check. That's it. Because this picture is not correct angle.
Okay, Milton, was there other questions, or was that another one?
I have no other questions other than that.
Okay, I'll ask you to turn your microphone off. Is there anybody else from the board? Caldwell?
I had a question for the city before we're done.
Okay, just pop your microphone. You might as well ask now.
Yeah, so I guess the question for city staff is, how did we get to where we are today? I love asking that question. And the reason I ask that is we have people from the public testifying that, hey, there are existing code issues, so on and so forth, and I just want to make sure that the board is getting accurate information from the public, that we had limited or no knowledge to this point.
Go ahead, Bert.
Okay, so the architect who stated earlier was fairly accurate in what I had a discussion with the assistant building official over the building code section, and he did state to me that They posted a stop work order while the property owner was building the second floor without a permit. The work stopped. They had done the work up to that time where there weren't any inspections. They did agree on accepting a special inspector for those inspections and whatnot. They did receive a permit. There was a stop work order that was posted. It was lifted after they obtained the permit for the second floor addition. Then they continued to work on the carport in the front that never had a permit, and they got cited for that. And then also the carport that's on the side of the house. James Hollingsworth, one of my structural plans examiners, and I went out and visited the site and spoke to the property owner. And at that time, that side yard carport only had the steel I-beams installed. And we instructed him at that point, don't go any further with this carport. The one in the front was essentially done. And wait till you're able to go for a variance and go from there. Because if the variance is denied, there's no sense in wasting the money building it. Well, we went out there this afternoon because we received an email from the association president, and I spoke to him as well, saying that the carport had been finished, which we didn't realize. So James is trying to print those pictures right now that he took of that side carport, and he's going to take and print the picture of the front carport as well.
Is that the one with the I-beams you said don't go any further?
The one on the side is.
With the I-beams you said don't go any further, but
Right,
it's not
I asked
completed.
him, just don't go there until you get it, don't go any further until you get a variance, because I don't want you to waste money building something that may not receive a variance, and you have to take it down. But he completed it anyway. There were some other items that we saw on the property that didn't appear to be permitted, but I'll ask him to respond on whether they were part of his permit package, because we don't have the in-house right now, and I looked for them. And there was some structures in the back that were in the side yard setback on the south side, and we did talk to him about that, but I'll let him address whether those were part of the addition permit or any of the other permits. And it has setbacks of 13 and 14 plus feet. You'll see it on the north side, those two posts, but that has since been completed. And we don't really know the dimensions of it, so what we've submitted in this package isn't up to date with everything that's been done.
So for a matter of correction, Dwayne Spence, Deputy City Attorney, said the applicant is the one who submits for a variance request, and the packet only includes the carport that's identified as the pergola roof. That's what is before the board for consideration. All the other evidence can be used by the board in considering whether or not the applicant has met their burden by preponderance of the evidence that they've met the code requirements for a variance for the request that they have that they have submitted to the board. But the other structures are, to the extent that you find that relevant to whether or not there's a hardship related to this item, as what you can consider that additional information as.
You're correct, but it's always much better for us to have all the information with what's going on with the total property, so we can look at a package. Yes, we only have to vote on the item before us, but
I'm absolutely. We're absolutely on the same page.
because
I just
on
want
face
to
value,
make
when
sure.
it first came before us, it's like, what's going on?
Just want to make sure the record reflects that we're on the same page.
Right, and Bert, I just want to, again, there are 3 variances requested. One is to allow the total aggregate floor area of an accessory building. That accessory building that we're talking about is that thing called a pergola, right?
That's correct.
And we're not really sure how big it is because there was no, but it doesn't matter. It's bigger than it should be.
Well, the one in the front, we do have the dimensions for.
Okay.
The one in the back, when we processed the paperwork, we had no knowledge that it had been completed. We only know that there was 2 supporting structures there.
But all of these variances that are requested are with respect to the one in the front, right? Yes.
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
So, to also clarify that, it is with respects to the one in the front. However, the terms of the sections are broader. So, for example, the aggregate floor area of all accessory buildings, which is the first variance request, would be impacted by these additional structures to increase the percentage of the plot area that all accessory structures would apply to. They've submitted in their packet evidence of only one accessory structure, but if granted, this exceeding 5% would encompass those additional structures that you are hearing about now.
So right now, the one in the, well, I'll wait till Bert's. Yeah, so actually, because we now know that there's others, the,
It does impact your vote
yeah.
on that first variance criteria because that's for the aggregate floor area of all accessory buildings.
okay.
Do we have any other questions of the applicant? Okay, thank you, sir.
Can I say something?
You want to say something real
Yeah,
quick?
of course I
That's fine.
want. Of
Okay.
course I want. So like you have the old pictures what it did by gentlemen, right? So you see this the giant trees, right? So these trees is providing me over $100,000 already damages on my assets. So just take consideration on that. And you see how big this tree is. The big oaks, maybe 100 or 150 years old. All right?
Okay,
And I want to protect my assets. This is my point.
okay, thank you,
Okay?
sir.
Thank you.
Just a quick question, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Yeah. Question for you. When you said it's done over $100,000 in damage to your assets, when you say your assets, what are your assets?
My car, sir.
So you own a bunch of cars.
I own about 12 cars, sir.
And what kind of business are you in?
Construction, sir.
Construction. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Is this time for statements or is that later? Or questions?
Well, I think we're done with questions. Let's bring it back to the
Well,
board
I
at
mean,
this
I'm
point.
just like, what is, I don't know the germaneness of an oak tree versus the lack of permits or asking for a variance. I
If
don't,
there's a question for staff, go for it.
yeah, I don't see, I'm trying to draw a connection between, okay, I have a lot of trees in that area, which that's what that neighborhood is known for, the tree covers. And that's a hardship when the real issue is not getting permits and not seeking city approval for development of a property. I don't see the connection there from what the applicant just said.
So, you know, I understand he's stating that the reason he wants to build a structure is to protect his assets from the tree. I don't think it has any relevance
Yeah.
and again, this is my opinion, any relevance on doing work without permit. If that was your question.
Yeah, I mean, I see why he would want to do that, but that's
But-
not
but
the
you know,
issue. The issue is no permits.
You know, I think that's what the board has to decide for themselves on what relevance there is to that.
So, again, to do a slight correction, the issue is not whether or not it's unpermitted. The issue is that it is built in violation of code sections, and he's seeking variances from the code sections that they violated. Yes, if they had applied for permits, the reviewers would have found that they were in violation of these sections and would have corrected that. But they did not go through that process, and now they're before the board claiming a hardship and asking you to provide variances to the code section that their structures violate.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there any other questions? Okay, then let's bring it in for a vote. Anybody like to make a motion? Go ahead, Pat.
Do you want a motion on all of them at the same time?
Can we, or?
Yes.
I don't think we can.
I think we can. Dwayne,
well,
can we
I'll
take
make-
them together, or do they have to be individual in this one?
You can take them together. I think the practice of the board particularly when you have discussions and there's some difference in the opinion of the board with regards to one variance request versus another, that they find it easier to separate them. But if you feel pretty confident with regards to the variances, you can put them in one motion.
I'll leave it up to you, Pat.
Well, then I'm going to start with the site triangle one, because I don't feel like we should be giving, site triangles are really critical and it's a safety issue, and I don't feel like we should be, site triangle has nothing to do with his trees, and so I would make a motion to deny 47, the variance to 47-2-2Q3 for the site triangle. He's for failure to meet the criteria for granting of a variance.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, Jamie, roll call on that one.
Floor area, and also joined with opposed section, the variance for section 47.39A1 point B. Was that parent 3? I guess that's what it's supposed to be. Join those two motions together to oppose.
For clarification, member, by opposed, do you mean deny?
Deny.
If we can reflect that in the motion as well.
Motion to deny both those issues for request for variance.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, let's do a roll call.
Ms. Rathburn? Yes. Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Hagopian?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Mead?
Yes.
And Charlton?
Yes.
7-0.
Okay. Doug? No. Jason?
Nope.
Bob?
No.
Caldwell?
I'm sorry.
Disclosures?
Been to site.
Okay. Pat?
Nothing.
Okay. And none for me. Sir, please state your name, relation to the property.
My name is Kevin Rodriguez. I'm the operating partner for B&D Trap, which is a restaurant that we're opening up on this property. My business partner owns the property under 1551 Sistrunk LLC, and I'm here trying to get an exception because we are 427 feet from the Mount Olive St. Aventus Church, and I believe the rule is we need to be at least 500 feet or more.
Okay. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak on this? Okay. Seeing none, while you're here, does anybody have any questions for the applicant?
I do.
Okay, Caldwell?
Have we reached out to the community? Have we reached out to the church?
I've reached out numerous times going back to November because we actually did something for Thanksgiving. We donated some food. The number on Google is incorrect. The two numbers that they have online, one goes straight to voicemail. I've left numerous voicemails on there. The other number is not connected. So what we did starting in Thanksgiving, we partnered with the Broward Partnership to donate some food. I'm not sure if you've been by the property that's down the street from where we are, but constantly shut. There's gates all around there, very hard to get in on there, very hard to get into, but I've tried numerous times to reach out to somebody. And just for the record, this is, we're planning on selling beer and wine. We're not trying to do liquor. This is going to be a business that's open probably from around 11 to 7, just like other barbecue places are in the South Florida area. We've worked with the CRA that gave us a grant to open up this business specifically in this community and in this lot. And we have a plan to literally start a food group, not just in Florida or outside of Florida, but in the Sistrunk area as well. My partner owns numerous lots going all down the street. And, it's very important for us to be successful. That's the reason why we put picnic tables in the patio and not just regular 2 tops or 4 tops. We want people to go in there, eat with people they didn't come with. And for me, at least, it's important that I want to feel like I'm at home when I'm eating food or barbecue food, because I know I'm not capable of making it at home. And, you know, barbecue with beer goes perfectly, or wine, because it's a 2-cop license. But sorry, going back to your original question, yes, I did reach out numerous times.
Is there any other questions?
Can you just locate where the church is?
You want to walk over?
That's you. Where's the church? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm in the corner. It's all the way down that same street. So this is Sistrum, and this is also right on the corner. It's called.
So there's a lot between you and that. There's a lot of buildings.
There's a huge parking lot.
If we can get the applicant on the microphone, please.
Sorry, there's a huge parking lot. I'm not sure if they're the ones that own that lot, but I mean, there's random cars that park there. You know, sometimes I'll see like an RV out there. I'm not really sure where the measurement was taken from, whether it was from our property line or whether it was from our door to their door. But yeah.
Sir, I have a question.
Sure.
Is the barbecue any good?
So I've been in hospitality my whole life. I've opened up restaurants and bars in New York, in Ireland, in Orlando. Most recently, I opened up a huge food hall in Miami. It took me about 6 months to find the chef. He specializes in Texas barbecue. He worked for Todd English in New York. He opened up barbecue in Dubai, a barbecue restaurant in Dubai. He opened up a barbecue restaurant in Las Vegas. Most recently, we flew out to where he opened up PBR, a live bar in Alabama. Me and my partner flew there that day. We had a handshake deal. We moved them out here, and we are just waiting to open up hopefully at the end of this month. But what I can assure you is that we're going to be successful, and you can't compare our barbecue to any other barbecue. And I'm not just saying that, and I invite anybody here to experience it themselves.
I'll take on that challenge. Thank you. Was
My
there any
pleasure.
other questions? Kolba?
Nope.
Pat?
Nope.
Okay.
Ready for motion?
I have a question. He said that you reached out to the church and you have not been able to see anybody. Do they have a congregation? Do they meet there? Do they have in church there?
Yeah, I believe they meet on Saturdays. Other than that, I've never ever been able to get in there. Again, it's normally locked. I think it's on Wednesdays. They'll have a huge line out there because they do, I believe they provide food for the homeless. Again, that's why I had originally reached out even before I was trying to apply for this 2-cop license. But again, nobody reached back out to me, and that's why we went with and donated food to the bar partnership, because it is important for us to be, involved with the community. And I'm hoping that at some point I could either it's the pastor or whoever is in charge over there, we can meet and I could have them over to the business for some food.
I'm not in favor of it unless you reach out to the church. The distance requirement of 500 feet is there for a reason, and I would not be in favor of it.
I understand. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. It's 73 feet, but again, I completely respect your decision, and I understand it.
Yeah, point of information, I've been on that church property before in the past. It is convoluted and a huge parking area. And I just, back in my mind though, I could be wrong. That church congregation, was that the one that just had a fire or some kind of issue on their property? I remember reading something about something in the neighborhood that had an issue. I don't know if I'm on the right one or not, but I will support a motion to approve this.
Okay, so Pat, I think you were going to make your motion.
Yeah, I was going to make a motion to approve the special exception.
Okay.
As requested.
Okay, so we have a
second.
A motion and 2 seconds. Jason was the first second. Bob, you were too slow.
Okay, I know.
Okay. Any further discussion? Let's do a roll call.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Hagopian?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
No.
Mr. Mead?
Yes.
Ms. Rathburn?
Yes.
And Chair Oakman?
Yes. Motion
Pass
passes.
6-1.
Congratulations. Thank you. Next case, item number 6, case number 23110002, address 2418 Southwest 30th Avenue. sir. Please state your name and relation to the property.
Mark Engel, I am the owner of the property.
And Mark, could you hit the little button to, there you go. Thank you. And I heard that you're the owner of the property. Please go right ahead.
We're requesting a variance to build a pool in the backyard. This property was originally part of Broward County. When we were incorporated into the city of Fort Lauderdale, they created a separate section of the code that incorporated some of the Broward County code. The wording of the variance says that we want to go to 3 feet, from 5 foot to 3 foot in the setback, when in reality we want to be 6 feet from the property line. The Broward County Code has a section that says that the setback is measured 3 feet from the edge of the pool. So it's a 5 foot setback, but when it's measured 3 feet from the edge of the pool, it means the pool needs to be 8 feet from the property line. So the way it's worded, if we have a setback of 3 feet and the measurement is 3 feet from the edge of the pool, we are 6 feet from the property line. You know, it's something that we're just asking to be consistent with the rest of Fort Lauderdale, which is 5 feet. We have several neighbors behind us that built pools both when we were Broward County and when we were Fort Lauderdale, and they're both between 5 and 6 feet from the property line. So even Broward didn't consistently enforce this, kind of a weird wording in the code. So basically the reason for our request.
Okay. Is there anybody from the, thank you. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak to this matter? Okay, in that case, sir, I'll let you sit down for a moment. We'll call you back up. And I'll ask you to restate your name again. Getting a lot of airtime today.
Yes, this I'll do as a resident instead of member of the board. My name is Ted Jagustin at 3005 Southwest 25th Street, Fort Lauderdale, Florida 33312. And this is the same neighborhood of Mr. Steve, who you heard before. And I would support this because Mark, he didn't say this, but he's an architect. And he is one of the people who probably really understands that the law is the minimum standard for ethics. So I would support this. And so I've been to his property, and he's not in violation of any codes at the present time. So I would support this.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else wishing to speak to this? Okay, in that case, close the public hearing. Does anybody have any questions of the applicant? If so, I'll bring them back up. Anybody? Okay, in that case, you could stay seated where you are. Bring it back to the board for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll move approval of PLN-BOA 23110002 for a variance as conditions of amendment.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? No discussion? Yes, Pat, go ahead.
Just the discussion is that I feel that they've met the hardship requirement of the variance requirements, because this is not a situation of their keeping and making, and if they were in Fort Lauderdale originally instead of being incorporated from
any disclosures?
Site visit.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Milton? No. I'm sorry, Milton?
No.
No. Okay, Doug?
No.
Jason?
Nope.
Bob?
No.
Thank you, Caldwell. I know site visit. Pat?
none.
Okay, none for myself. And, okay, sir, please state your name, relation to the property.
How you doing? My name is Dwayne Shaw. I'm a contractor.
Good evening. I'm Brad Lipkowitz. I'm the property owner.
Okay.
Essentially, we're here today asking for 2 variance requests. The first one is allowing a fence within the restricted setback. Currently calls for 3 feet from the property line. In 1994, a permit was pulled. The current fence is pretty much dilapidated. It needs to be changed over. So that's what we're here to do, change it over. However, if we now adhere to the current code, it would actually mean the fence would have to be in their pool deck, and it would actually destroy part of the pool deck. So we're just asking to basically just put the fence right back in the exact same spot that the current fence is.
Okay. Anything else to add, or that's pretty much it?
That is on that one. Anything you want to?
Is it okay if I speak to both of them when I speak?
Okay. And then the other one is asking for a variance in terms of the site triangle. I believe in site triangles, and I know it can be a little bit touchy. The reason why we're asking for a site triangle variance is, one, we want to be able to put a fence across the driveway to encroach it, to enclose the driveway. Two, based upon the code, it just seemed a little odd because it's calling for two site triangles back to back, which is causing